Hello, dear friends. Reality is much stranger than fiction and more hidden. Opinion piece. Plan to save the world. Tesla protocol. Changing of the guard. Disappearance of 11 scientists. Thin line between reality and fantasy. Let's start. The plan to save the world was years in the making. It is a global operation to expose an elite through secret dossiers, diplomatic pressure, and capitulations from world leaders. It is a program of salvation through revelations to confront major planetary problems. To the casual observer, its execution may have seemed sinister. This plan required precision and meticulous design. It was the only way to stop the crimes being committed around the world. Charlie Frick and Bonfire Guy present the White Hat team as a secret force that allegedly forced many world leaders to capitulate using dossiers containing evidence of crimes, as reported in a publication by Dutch Force. This campaign began in 2017 and unfolded through several diplomatic tours across the Middle East and Europe, Asia, and the Americas, employing symbolic gestures, public meetings, and threats of declassification to coerce surrenders. No leader acted alone, but rather as the public face of a coalition tasked with exposing human trafficking networks. Saudi Arabia, Israel, the Vatican, the EU, major technology corporations, and later several governments in Asia and the Americas all yielded to incriminating evidence, agreeing to collaborate with this plan to save the world. Countries such as Japan, China, Vietnam, India, Brazil, Canada, Germany, France, and the UK and Russia reportedly accepted orders under the threat of public exposure. Virtually all world leaders allegedly ended up cooperating, whether out of fear or self-interest. This global operation reportedly led to arrests and changes in various countries. Disappearances. Mr. Poole claims that the 11 scientists linked to nuclear and aerospace defense have not disappeared, but rather have been extracted by a coalition. He asserts that they are now at the Cheyenne Mountain complex working on technology that he claims was intended to conceal the dark side. According to this version, the media is spreading a false narrative by presenting the event as a mysterious disappearance or a possible attack, when in reality it is a planned operation. He also says that this operation is part of the Directive on Quantum Restorative Health Systems, described as a second phase linked to healing technology, cell regeneration, and medbed units. The text links this project to statements attributed to astrophysicist Eric Davis and to the existence of classified materials on unidentified aerial phenomena. The article adds that the Pentagon has deliberately delayed the release of 46 classified UFO videos, and that these materials show not only flying objects, but also healing technology. Along the same lines, it claims that the 23,863 medbed capsules acquired in October are already active and that scientists are adjusting technical parameters related to human DNA resonance to activate these capabilities. Finally, the article indicates that major revelations are imminent including the release of classified information and the large-scale application of these technologies. It also mentions a specific date, May 15, 2026, associated with an executive order and legal proceedings against actors within the system that will bring about global change. Bluebeam. Caba Moore maintains that Bluebeam project was never a real plan and is used as a way to explain or conceal the fear surrounding UFOs. According to his view, the real psychodrama would be the constant disinformation about fake alien invasions, not an operation involving holograms or fabricated spacecraft. He adds that if the project were real, it would have been implemented before the digital age, and UFO sightings will continue to be interpreted as fake by some people, but the coalition of worlds will not allow an alien invasion, real or imagined. It also states that those who spread fear about Bluebeam refuse to accept that we are not alone and that benevolent forces exist with their own ships and technology. He adds that sightings of objects or ships will continue to occur and that some people will continue to interpret them as fake. He also posits that mass deception technology, such as holograms, would not be necessary, as the current disinformation from artificial intelligence would be enough to confuse the population. Ancient technology. According to Tartaria Britannica, there was an ancient technology based on the capture of free energy or atmospheric electricity, was allegedly hidden or erased by elites interested in protecting their energy monopoly. It also claims that groups with power over banks, railroads, energy, and education destroyed this technology, changed its name, and removed it from school textbooks to prevent its recognition. He argues that due to limited documentation in the 19th century, it was possible to manipulate history and conceal certain knowledge. According to this narrative, economic elites with control over banks, transportation, energy, and education eliminated or erased this technology to protect their interests and monopolies. Tesla procedure. Axios 4b suggests that an active Tesla protocol exists and that there is a deadline, April 30th, for activating this process. It claims that after Nikola Tesla's death in 1943, the FBI seized his documents, and some of that knowledge remained in the custody of the Trump family for 83 years, including applications such as free energy, medical technology, and frequency-based systems. The text asserts that April 30th marks a political and operational turning point that signals the end of the old world order, with changes in the state surveillance, medicine, finance, and the power structure. Furthermore, it links this date to several simultaneous events: the Epstein hearings, movements in the gold market, tensions in the Strait of Hormuz, and the geopolitical crisis with Iran. It also maintains that inventions such as free energy, wireless energy, medical beds, frequency transmission, and QFS derive from Tesla's hidden or classified ideas. The text presents these technologies as suppressed by undisclosed interests. It also connects this development to recent political and economic events, interpreting them as part of a process of technological liberation. Reality is much stranger than fiction and more hidden. Nature and science offer cases that defy everyday logic. reality contains wonders far stranger than we usually imagine, such as pink lakes, floating cities, and a volcano with blue lava in Indonesia. Extreme creatures, underwater mysteries, and other examples are also mentioned as proof that the line between reality and fantasy is thinner than it seems. Middle East. The trust between the US and Iran enters its final stretch without an agreement. The US intercepted and boarded an Iranian-linked tanker in the Indo-Pacific. The Iranian military wants it will break the US naval blockade by force. Oil prices soared after the US seized an Iranian vessel. Oil prices returned to near $100 a barrel after the cancellation of peace negotiations. Trump extends the ceasefire until Iran presents a proposed agreement and says a naval blockade is necessary. Iran says it will not accept negotiations under the shadow of a threat, in quotes. Israel accuses three nations of secretly agreeing with Iran on passage through the Strait of Hormuz. The Iranian blockade of the strait threatens a global energy catastrophe. Global shipping is in chaos as Iran closes the strait and vows to attack any approaching vessels. Iraq is attempting to transport its oil overland to the global market through Syria. Rebuilding Gaza will cost more than $71 billion. The IMF warns that the war threatens a global economic collapse. Europe. Hungary's Druzhba oil pipeline is repaired and ready to operate. Lufthansa cancels 20,000 flights to save fuel. The UK will reach its highest unemployment figure in a decade. Spain. More than 40,000 immigrants have requested extraordinary regularization. Spanish Airlines don't foresee a risk of kerosene shortages this summer and expect more passengers due to uncertainty in other regions. The EU calls for respect for the separation of powers in response to government criticism over the Begoña Gómez case. Spain fails in its attempt to break the agreement with Israel due to the refusal of Berlin and Rome. Americas. Cuba confirms its meeting with a US delegation. Cuba acknowledges the aid from Mexico, Brazil, and Spain. Guatemala declares a new state of prevention due to a gang threat. Delcy Rodriguez asks the IMF for access to Venezuelan assets. The head of Peru's electoral body resigns. 60% of Argentinians rule out supporting Milei's re-election according to a poll. And that's all for today. Thanks a lot, dear friends.